All right, what are we doing here? We're taking the A term times the C term, 12 times -1, getting -12. And this is the thing that we want to list the factors of. Now, of course, we have a -1 at the end there, so that means that we're going to have one of each sign. And how do we list that out then? Well, we list it out as saying this. We say something like 1 times -12 or -1 times +12. Yeah? And of course, we're looking in the process of this, we're looking to make the +4 that's that middle term right there. Okay, so these add up to -11 and 11. So let's keep going. We can do 2 times -6 or -2 times +6. And there we go. That one adds up to 4. We could go further and say -3 times 4, 4 times whatever. We don't need to do those. All we need to do is identify the proper set. And once you do that, you can be done. You don't have to list everything. So we're using -2 and 6. So I'm going to erase this. Okay, so we say we're starting out with 12d squared. And then the 4d is going to get split up into 6d and -2d. And we've got that -1. Now what do? We group them and see what we can factor out. So for the first one, we can factor out a 6 and a d from each one. So 6d factors out. What is 12d squared divided by 6d? It's 2d. And what is 6d divided by 6d? It's 1. Now, I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to make this clear. Anytime you have, in this second binomial, if you have this leading number being -1, factor a negative out. Okay, if this first term is negative, pull a negative out. So we can say, what can we divide these both by? We can divide them by -1. That's all we can get out of it. That's the only shared factor that they've got is the 1 with the negative. So -2d divided by -1, 2d. -1 divided by -1, +1. Okay, as we hoped, we've got the same thing in the parentheses left over, and so what do? We take the first thing we factored out, 6d, and the second thing we factored out, -1, and we make that be the first binomial. And then for the second binomial, it's whatever was left inside. I know that I'm repeating myself over and over again because this is the steps, and I want you to hear them over and over again until you get them. Okay, and then which one do we got? 6d minus 1, 2d plus 1, and that is choice C. Right there. All right, let's move on. This next one, 48. What do we got? We've got the leading coefficient of 6 and the constant term of -6. So A times C is -36. Okay, we've got one of each sign. So we're either going to have 1 times -36 or -1 times +36. Those add up to -36 or +36. We need numbers that are much closer together. They're only 5 apart because that middle term is 5. And so that's what we are aiming for when we combine these two. So let's keep going. 2 times -18 or -2 times +18 or 3 times -12 or -3 times +12 or 4 times -9 or -4 times +9. And hey, those are the two that add up to 5, that 5 that we're looking for. So we're going to keep that. That's going to be how we break it apart. And let me erase all this to give us space to work. Okay. Six g squared. And remember, what two numbers did we get for 36? We got negative 4 and 9. So we're going to write negative 4g and positive 9g, then negative 6. Now what do? Now this is where we group them. And see what we can divide out. So what can we divide out? For 6g squared and negative 4g, we can get out a 2 and a g. And actually, let me move this down a little bit further because I feel like I'm crowding myself. Okay, we can get a 2 and a g out. And then what's left inside? 6g squared divided by 2g is 3g. And 4g squared, I'm sorry, negative 4g divided by 2g is negative 2. What can we factor out of 9g minus 6? Well, we can factor out a positive 3. What do we have left? We have 3g and negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. And like I said, we always want to see we've got the same thing twice there, and that's great. So what do we get as a result? We're going to take the two things we factored out and put them together as a binomial. So we factored out 2g and a positive 3. That becomes one of our binomials. And then whatever we had left inside, which was 3g minus 2, becomes the other one. So looking for our answer, I'll get all this out of the way. Looking for our answer, we find that in, let's see, 2g plus 3 and 3g minus 2 is C. So let me mark that. Thanks for your patience while I erase all this stuff out of the way. And then last one, 3g squared plus 8x minus 16. We're going to take the 3 from the front and the negative 16 from the back, and we're going to get negative 48. And we need to factor that. Okay, what we're looking for is to get two numbers that will add to positive 8. So we've got 1 times negative 48, or negative 1 times 48, 2 times negative 24, or negative 2 times 24, 3 times negative 16, or negative 3 times positive 16. None of those so far, but we're getting closer. So now we're going to do 4 times negative 12. I'm going to erase these. None of these work. These add up to negative 47 and 47. These add up to negative 22 and 22. These add up to negative 13 and positive 13. And none of those work. So I'm going to start with 4 times whatever. Okay, let's see. 4 times negative 12, or negative 4 times positive 12. And there you go. Those are the two that are going to add up to the 8 that we're looking for. Okay? That's what we'll use, negative 4 and 12. So let me get those out of there. Okay, and we'll write 3x squared negative 4x plus 12x. That's the 8x that we have in the middle, minus 16. And we're going to group them. Group the first two and the last two. What can we factor out? We have no common factor for the 3 and the negative 4, but we can pull out an x. So let's pull an x out of here. And what's left? Well, we've got 3x minus 4. And what can we factor out for the 12x minus 16? Those are both multiples of 4. We can pull out a positive 4. And what are we left with? We're left with 12x divided by 4 is 3x, negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4. We got the same thing twice inside, good sign. And now we put those two together. X plus 4 is our first term, and our second term is whatever's left inside, 3x minus 4. So which answer has that? X plus 4, 3x minus 4. That's D. So we're going to choose D as our answer.